we're going to go for a game now, name association. So I'm going to give you some sentences, some descriptions, and then pick the first name that you think matches that description for me. And if there's a little story that needs to be thrown in there, don't be afraid to throw it in as well. And the first one is, and it can be any locker room, the funniest person in the locker room.
Oh man, Rikishi is pretty funny. I'll tell you a story
Okay.
about this. He's a big jokester, but he's sneaky. That sneaky joke. We're at University of Notre Dame. I got $80-some thousand house, so a lot of ticket sales, and so we're up in the dressing room, and the room they got us dressing in is like a box, and it looks out over. I mean, we could see the ring set up, and this is Notre Dame's big arena. So one of the priests or fathers or somebody came up and had a mic and was tested to hear, he was over the whole arena and he was walking around. And so another guy came in with a mic and laid it down, and they left. If you ever talk to Keish, ask him about this, because I bring it up all the time. He got on the mic, and I guess he had come in and he didn't realize that it went over the whole arena. And he's doing this, "Oh, Mr. Horny, me love you long time." And these priests come running in, and they were going to shut the show down.
No.
So he was scared shitless too, because it was a good house at Notre Dame, that night. But yeah, he almost got in some trouble over that. But we had the show. It was a good show, but man, they were hot.
Man, it's nice to know, if nothing else, Rikishi's a 2 Live Crew fan, because so horny, because I know it's from it's from Full Metal Jacket, isn't it? But I know that's yeah, but that's a 2 Live Crew took that and sampled it. It's a really good song. This is a bit of a dark one. I don't know if you'll have a name for this. Biggest bully. You can always skip if you can't think of anyone.
I can't really think of anybody around our era, because hell, everybody was big. I thought Vader, if I had to think of somebody, it would be Vader. And not in a bad way, just, that's the way he was.
Well, you might have the same name for this. Smelliest wrestler.
Wow.
I mean, I've heard it when you're on a European tour and you're working 3 weeks and no one's watched it. Everyone qualifies for that.
Yeah, well, see, I always, me and Hunter, when we're doing the slop, I wash my gear out every night, and he had to, and we'd go back. He'd have to wash his stuff out and hang it in the hotel, and I did it too, because I mean, you're right. After a few days of sweating, and now you got slop, a little bit of slop here and there, and shit souring now, and yeah, I hand washed my clothes in the hotel and hung them up to dry.
Most dangerous situation you found yourself in? Sort of I don't mean with the neck break or anything else, but with fans or something like that.
I guess when we lost the belts back to the Road Warriors, there was almost a riot that night. And that's the night I broke Uncle Elmer or Uncle Cletus's nose, which was Dirty White Boy.
Tony Anthony.
T.L. Hopper, yeah. So that was a little hairy.
What did you do to wind the fans up that much? I mean, you lost.
Oh my God. Well, I can't really say what we told some of the guys that were giving us shit.
I see.
But yeah, it was the police were involved. We had towels over our heads, sneaking out the back door. There was probably 100 people outside ready to kill us. But we got out of there, and uh, Uncle Elmer was laying in the back seat, or Uncle Cletus was laying in the back seat with a towel, and it was red. I broke his nose, and he still gets on me about that. I just talked to him about a month ago. Yeah,
Never.
you broke my damn nose.
Next one is the stiffest. Who would just lay them in?
Uh, Vader was, of course, I was taught that way to lay it in. So uh, we always had good matches with Vader. We talked about that yesterday. That you know, Tex would always say, "Yeah, he gives you a lot, or you take a lot." But yeah, I just we're big guys, and I've power slammed him before and caught him in midair, and I guess he trusted me too. He felt comfortable. He knew I could handle him and handle what he. I didn't mind taking what he was giving because I give her right back. But I always liked working Leon.
Aside from yourself, I've been talking to you for a little while now. Aside from yourself, the most chill wrestler, just
The
the
most
easiest,
what?
the most chill, the easiest going
Chilled.
guy.
It's got to be. It's got to be Taker. Um, Yoko was a big chill guy. He was a big kid though. I loved Yoko. Just a big sweetheart. We used to have some good times out. If we were out west, if I was out that way, he would say, "Just come to my house and we'll change your ticket and we'll fly out to the next week. We'll fly out from here together." So I was pretty close with Yoko. I drove him a lot, uh, on the road, and even before Phineas come up. Uh, but yeah, I'd say they were pretty chill.
Mm. Best and worst road agents.
Blackjack was good. Uh, uh,
What do you look
t-
for in a good road agent? Just someone who just takes it easy, doesn't levy the fines, that kind of thing, or something else?
yeah, yeah, somebody who's been, who knows the boys and knows what to expect and how to treat them, and but yet still have control of the situation, because you got to have somebody that is fair but firm. You can't do silly shit. But yeah, Hebner's Hebner was Dave was always probably one of the best agent.
Who?
Gurria was okay, and then what's his
Rene?
Goulet Rene, yeah,
Rene Goulet, yeah.
Rene Goulet, yeah. I got along with all the agents. So George the Animal Steel. When I started up there, it was the person they put with me to help me with a few of my first matches up there was Chief J Strongbow.
Mm. Do you know, with Chief J, I hear the gamut from my favourite to my least favourite with Chief. And where does he fall for you then?
uh, in the middle somewhere. He wasn't, he didn't help me a lot, but he was always good to me and tried to support me and give me advice. But uh, and Blackjack was always funny. Lanza.
Did you ever get fined? And if so, for what?
No, never did.
No?
No,
There you go.
never got fined.
The crappiest building you've ever worked for a major promotion?
Uh, well, all the boys said the old arena in Pittsburgh. I mean, it was like damp, and you'd see water leaking, and it looked hazy all the time. But it was an old building. But man, some of them were some of the greatest, places to wrestle. I was like the old, like the old Boston Gardens, man. I got to wrestle there before they tore it down, and what a spooky atmosphere that was, with
Yeah.
just the lights on the court on, but before like they're just now setting the ring up, but it was dark, and it was pretty cool though. That's
When did they tear
enjoyed
that
it.
down? Was it 95 or something like that?
So, yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, I got to wrestle in the Omni a few times before they tore it down, which was always a big place to wrestle in Atlanta, the Omni in Atlanta. And yeah, but being able to do the Boston Gardens before they tore it down,
Mm.
it's pretty neat.
Which arena had the best atmosphere?
Oh God, the Guard.
Mm. Is it
We,
just still got the aura?
yeah, yeah, and I don't know. It's just so old school. It just reminds you of back in the day, and just the atmosphere. And a lot of people that work there, we see the same people all the time, and just a good place. That's where we won the belts the first time against Skip and Zip, Body Donis,
Mm.
Sonny.
No, you don't have to give me the number if you wish not to, but the event where you got your single biggest payoff.
Uh, would be the hog pen match.
Really? So not
Yeah,
like WrestleMania or anything, the Hogpen match?
yeah,
Well,
because the others were right there, but yeah, the hog pen match was a good payoff.
good man.
And we were nominated that year for best match of the year at the Slammy Awards.
Who like put those lists together? Did you ever find out? Was it like the WWF office? Just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
But I think, of course, Vince, when he told us that night we had a hell of a match, then I thought, well, maybe, Vince has said something, because it was a good match. It was very rough, but fun.
Greatest tag team to work with.
Uh,
It's an unfair question, I know, but
well, in WCW, we had hell of a matches with Bagwell and Scorpio. Uh, we had good match. We had two segments. We worked Shane Douglas and Steamboat, and we talked about that yesterday. And that was a good. I mean, that was a night off. 2 nights off doing that with them two. Uh, always liked working the Headbangers, the Gun, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn. We always had good matches with them, and of course with Wyndham and uh,
Bradshaw.
Bradshaw. That was just a slugfest. That was rough, you know. But we had a little bit more finesse with like the Headbangers, Davey and Owen.
That reminds me, I spoke to Bradshaw not too long ago, and he said that there was a story between you and him where it's something with a hotel room. And do you know what the story is? Because I don't want to give any more of it away.
I know, yeah, I know. One thing he's probably talking about is we all had went out drinking, after the show. This is in Boston, because we went out and got some seafood that night. And we were pretty, on our way when we got back. Well, they had already went in their room, went to bed. So, of course, their door's locked, but their window was cracked. Me and Phineas slide the window up, bust in, and they're in bed, and we just start wailing on them. Just beat the shit, tear their room up, and we leave. That was one night he's talking about.
I can't remember if that's the story, but Bradshaw said he had no memory of actually what happened. He just woke up and just saw his hotel trash. And was like, what happened? How long did you leave him thinking that before you actually admitted that you went in there?
Well, it finally came out that next morning after everybody sort of sobered up a little bit.
I'm going to give you a few more, and then we'll do a little pause for a little break. Anyway,
Okay.
strongest wrestler you ever faced?
Uh, God, probably. Well, I mean, Taker and Kevin were always strong. Neidhart,
Hmm.
yeah, real strong.
The smoothest worker. Like, they made it look even almost too easy. They were just so smooth.
I I did just watch this, and I think I shared it with Brett, but I had 2 different weeks that I had a couple segments with Brett, and Brett, they always said he would lay the rubber mallets in. He would lay it in, but that's just the way I was trained, so I liked it. But he was smooth, and me and Hunter, our chemistry together was great.
Loudest spot caller.
Oh God, I don't.
You've got a name. I know. I
Maybe
can tell.
maybe Bagwell. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a good question.
I was going to say, there's like some sparsely populated cards in like 92, 93. So, I mean, surely everyone in the arena would have heard it if he was
I
yelling.
think I think Van Hammer was getting people riding him about doing that.
Oh, really?
Remember Van Hammer in WCW?
Worst driver.
Phineas.
Why? He just terrible. Turn
I
around
was
and talk
always
to you.
Yeah, or just not pay attention. Uh yeah, he almost killed me and Jake and himself one day. Luckily we got his attention, and I think Jake had pulled the wheel and Texas slamming on the brakes, but that could have been a bad day. But yeah, I'd say Phineas.
Two more.
I was always the wheel man.
You see, that's the way to be. I mean, you can trust yourself more than anyone else,
I trust
surely.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Most legit tough badass.
Barbarian, Haku. I, I still got to put Taker in there, and
Mm.
Kevin. Back then, I'm just trying to think of people with long reaches and were big, pretty strong.
Kevin is in Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I might as well have called that just a Haku memorial question because everyone says Haku.
Yeah.
But the last one is the most memorable backstage fight, if you ever witnessed one.
Uh, I don't think I ever witnessed one. I mean, I missed a couple, and the only thing I seen was the screw job, Montreal screw job. I seen Brett's frustration that night, but that's really about the only. I think I've seen anybody fight. I almost when Viscera jumped on my back in a battle royal and messed my back up. They got me to the locker room, and Taker come in and asked what happened, and they told him, and he started taping his hands up, waiting on Viscera to come back, and they had to separate him. He was gonna, I mean, taking up for me, he was gonna, and of course they let Viscera go a week later.
Oh, so that was the
And then
reason.
and then he come back as Viscera, but yeah, that's probably the closest I've seen to a fight.
Is it, did Mabel, I think it was Mabel at the time, did
Yeah,
Mabel have just a rep for hurting guys? Because I've heard a couple of different stories with him.
yeah, yeah. Just careless, he's a big guy. When you're 500 pounds, you I don't know, you got to trust each other. You got to feel comfortable, and I just never felt comfortable with him.
I mean, but yeah, with 500 pounds, it's
Yeah,
yeah, he doesn't quite realise his strength, I guess.
right.